Here we fucking go. So here in Portland, there are kids who look like this these days, and they're proud of it. And I mean, almost a carbon copy of this garbage. I remember these days with SNL, and yeah, here we go. Just watch this, and then I'll say my piece.
Hey, dudes! Any of you guys steal anything lately?
What are you talking about?
Like my laptop diary? It's been stolen and I want it back!
What the hell are you anyway?
Oh, I know what you're thinking. Am I a Crip or am I a Blood?
No. What we want to know is, are you a brother or a sister?
Well, I'm an only child.
There's a word for what you are.
Charismatic?
Spike. What is the word I'm looking for?
Nasty.
Androgynous.
Oh, that's right. Androgynous. That's what everyone says about me. Good old androgynous path. That's always cheerful and androgynous with everybody.
So what the hell are you? A man or a woman?
And kids here in Portland definitely react the same way. So here's what I typed up. Before I get into this too, keep in mind, all that exists is XX and XY. You'll have other kids rattle off some other bullshit, but even hermaphrodites that are born still have one working sex organ, typically speaking, because that's how it works. Otherwise, things wouldn't be what they are. We wouldn't experience what we've experienced. I also have some grilled cheese in my mouth, so pardon me. Said, apparently kids in this feed are dimmer than the backwoods of Georgia. Do you experience day and night? Do you experience cold and hot? Best of all, how do you think babies are created? It's a binary system and there's nothing but proof of that. Cross-dressing is not a gender. Cross-dressing is not a race of people. I'll repeat that because apparently people can't figure this out and most people aren't reminding people of this. Cross-dressing is not a gender. Cross-dressing is not a race of people. Pausing for dramatic emphasis. What cross-dressing has been turned into is a social engineering campaign brought to you by the Tavistock Institute and the eugenics agenda. Since most of you are exceptionally slow, I'll spell it out for you with an analogy. Food used to be life-sustaining and full of light. In other words, it benefited the body. A social engineering campaign was conducted to rebrand food as quote-unquote, I can't even say it, quote-unquote organic, after which genetically modified poison was introduced into our food supply. And we're still suffering the negative ramifications of this garbage today. No one's doing anything to stop it. All right, I'm off script. The same applies to playing make-believe and referring to people as quote-unquote, and you can read the word because fuck that horse shit, instead of thinking for yourself. Dogs can't be cats and cats can't be dogs. It's not how shit works. But again, what did I say about these kids in this feed? Let's post it a few times because they won't like it, and somebody will fucking probably block me, and somebody else will cry themselves to sleep, and people hate when you leave more than one of these on these feeds for some reason. I mean, the last thing they want to do is see something that reflects reality, right? They'll also tell me, no, I can't do this anymore in a minute, if not already. So let's put some of those in there, and then we'll just be able to say full steam ahead, motherfucker, and carry on with what I'm up to. Remember how the end of this video panned out? 10 to 1. It's going to be a couple people, if not more than a couple people, who will pop in here, see this comment, and cry themselves to sleep. But as always, what the fuck do I know? Yeah, that's better. So I popped on Wonder Boys from 2000. That's when it came out. Yeah, calendar cycle of 2000. And I forgot how often it was stressed in the beginning of this movie. Robert Downey Jr. shows up with a cross-dresser. And they talk about it a lot. keep in mind, they don't refer to it as any of the social engineering jargon people rattle off today. They say transvestite, and they mumble and whisper and say, well, so essentially, what was it, Robert Downey Jr.? They say, well, he's gay then, right? And they're like, yeah, he's gay, because that's what it is. I mean, you got kids today talking about lesbian on lesbian, and it's not lesbian on lesbian. I mean, people are corrupting what fucking reflects reality, and they don't realize how they're muddying the waters. Just the same shit like this was in the programming then to break you down. These are some of the initial steps in terms of how our masters function. They were normalizing this shit. This is 23 years ago. Keep in mind, it's not March yet. March is when the new year begins. March 21st. We're still in February right now. 23 years ago. And this is one of many examples of this shit in the programming, etc., etc. Now it stands out like an eyesore in an entirely different way because it's a trend right now. It's just as good as being a hippie, grunge, or goth, or the ravers, or just some of the junk that I grew up with. The reemergence of the rave scene and the reemergence of the hippies. I guess grunge and goth were technically new to me and everyone else when I was growing up. And then I remember when emo crap was rolled out, and you could tell that our masters were attempting, and they were going to do a bang-up job at shitting out a bunch of little wet farts, with baby dicks. Limp fucking cocks. Who aren't willing to think for themselves. And that's what the emo scene was. People they just can't see a couple steps ahead. It's crazy. You have some people out there that will talk about how our masters are, taking the piss out of people, but then they'll dress it up as, so the aliens can come and get us. Which is just another propaganda campaign. Aliens don't exist. They're not going to exist. The closest thing you'd ever see is a test tube man-made abomination. That's it. People just don't get these things. It just boggles the fucking mind. But it's probably also because we're constantly entertained and there's all this programming that people are digesting, and then they repeat it instead of thinking for themselves, because most people don't understand how to do that anymore. Either way, what the fuck do I know? If you hung out, thanks for hanging out.